Globally, the economy is in crisis, and this is going to impact very much on South Africa. Already our people have been facing a social crisis with growing unemployment, poverty, and widening inequality.
And South Africa is one of the most unequal societies in the world, with high unemployment, with backlogs in housing, with declining standards of education, declining standards of healthcare, and so on. And the impact of this global crisis is going to be devastating on South Africa. Already in the last 3 months of last year, manufacturing production fell by 22%. 36,000 people, according to NUMSA, were laid off in the motor and the component industries. We've seen just the other day that Frame Textiles is closing down. That's 1,400 jobs lost directly, and probably another up to 5,000 altogether as a result of that. That's partly to do with the import of textiles from China, but it's also effect of the global recession. Car sales plunged, I think, 36% in January. Standard Bank says that 400,000 jobs will be lost in the economy this year. Tito Mboweni the other day said that the recession in South Africa is likely to last from 2 to 3 years. So that's going to mean probably more than 1 million jobs lost. And each job is not just the job that's lost, but the worker was probably supporting 2 or 3 other people with his wage.
I'm a pizza maker. I was working on Panarottis in Tenga Valley, semenza phaa Panarottis in Tenga Valley for 10 years, 11 years, like uyabona. So now I was retrenched. Uyabona, ndine support yabantwana, umama wabo lo baba ababili bana bamse support. So andikwazi uduna isupport ke ngoku nabantwana. Donke aba ndihlala nabo apha. Lo senti ndifumanayo umama ekhaya. Uyifumana la 80 rand ngemini. Thina sinangxaki thina sithi songa nekofu or sekirvater. Yahle.
The ANC government introduced neoliberal policies, privatization, liberalization of trade, balanced budgets, financialization of the economy, and this has led to the increase in unemployment.
The liberalization of the industries of the economy is affecting the food industry and in FAO in particular. In the past, you had companies like Nestle, your Cadbury, your Coca-Cola, your SAB, having huge number of employees. But if you go to those factories today and compare the numbers with the previous years, like the 5, 7 to 10 years, you'll find that there is a huge gap, because now they are using the machinery. The factories are becoming small and small and small. And when you are engaging the employers, they will tell you about the international trends in terms of producing and making sure that the companies are making profits.
Since the beginning of the 1980s, the world economy has increasingly been run on the criteria of neoliberalism, one aspect of which has been financialization. In other words, the rapid deregulation of banks and the ability of banks to speculate wildly with the money that they have and to virtually create money. But now the banks have become so profligate with their loans that people could not pay them back. So eventually people started being evicted from their houses and their houses taken back from them, and this created a whole vicious circle with the banks ceasing to trust each other's creditworthiness and refusing to lend any money at all. So you had a sudden freezing of the financial system. which immediately reacted on the real economy, because this lubrication of the financial system through credit was all that was keeping the economy going. So now you have recession in the United States, recession in Japan, recession on a virtually global basis.
It is accepted statistically that in 1997 the total employment with municipalities was in the range of 240,000 full-time employees. The current figures reflect more in the range of 185,000. Out of the 185,000 formal employees, a growing percentage of those numbers are from your outsourced or casualized forms of work, which in many instances has taken the form of privatization within the sector. A growing number of municipal jobs no longer exist. That would be formal municipal employment, where the municipality is the direct employer. As the result of outsourcing, as the result of privatization. So when you have a bilateral arrangements between government, business and labor, can it safely be said that the advancements being made by government and by business are beginning to ensure that workers are also as equitable in that arrangement as we would expect it to be? The answer is clearly no. The point simply being, in any capitalist environment, the state either takes on the role of one of the role players, of one party, of one class. And as COSATU, in its policy document, is always accepted that the government is leaning more towards the interests of capital than to the interests of workers.
Well, it's not just a financial crisis, it's a crisis of the capitalist system. Around the world you have huge unemployment again, and at the root cause of it is the fact that capitalism always has a tendency to produce more than people can afford to pay for. Not more than they need, because there's a big shortage of goods in terms of people's needs, but more than the markets can bear. The market consists of what people are able to pay. So it's a classic crisis of overaccumulation in the capitalist system that should be solved by the workers taking democratic control of the big banks and the big monopolies.